Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I, of course, am your host, Chris, and today we're talking about how in a little over 2 weeks, we will have the massive treat that is Disney Plus Day and D23. An entire weekend where we will be getting big announcements for all things Disney on Disney Plus and projects outside of Disney Plus during the D23 event. Namely, we can be expected Star Wars news, Pixar, Disney Originals, and of course, Marvel. And today we're going to be talking about all the things that you should be expecting to be revealed during Disney Plus Day and D23. D23 on September 10th is the big Marvel event. So mark your calendar for September 10th. That's when we're going to be getting the big, juicy announcements. And today, of course, we're going to be putting on our speculatory hats, our scooper hats, hearing some of the insides and leaks that have been going out about what to expect. And then, of course, just our super fan hats, talking about what we hope to have happen, as we are all very excited for the future of Marvel now that we have up to Phase 6 released, thanks to San Diego Comic-Con, or at least parts of Phase 6. And we know that Marvel has recently been giving us announcements beyond even the next few phases. They are announcing projects without giving them definitive dates, so we could be getting all sorts of updates, and we're going to talk about them right now. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our other major movie and television news happening daily here on the channel. You can also follow me on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at TheCultureChris. Links to both of these are in the description down below. With all that out of the way, let's dive into our hopes, wants, dreams, desires, and biggest fanboy ideas of what can be released during D23, starting with my personal and biggest hope, my biggest dreams. Please, oh please, Disney gods, give us Deadpool 3. Now, we know Deadpool 3 is coming. We've had many talks about this from Ryan Reynolds, from writers, from Kevin Feige himself. We know that it's going to be rated R, that they're going to continue on with the same awesome Deadpool ideas and feeling that we've had through the Fox universe. And that's going to be translated over to the MCU somehow, whether it's some kind of weird Deadpool time travel or multiverse thing, whether something to do with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness or Loki, however they plan on explaining it. Hopefully we can get some official announcement and some details, a title for the new movie during D23. Now, it was originally rumored at length that Ryan Reynolds was going to show up to SDCC just recently in 2022 and announce the title for the Deadpool 3 movie. However, it turns out that there was, supposedly, according to insiders, a scheduling conflict and Ryan Reynolds could not make it, and that pushed the release of Deadpool, well, not the release date, but the announcement of Deadpool back to D23. So now we're expecting to hear a video call in from Ryan Reynolds, or maybe even an in-person appearance, where he will announce the title of Deadpool 3. Release date? I don't know. Is it in Phase 5? There didn't seem to be any left open spots, but hey, who knows what Marvel is going to be doing with this? It 100% could be happening on some type of subplot in the MCU, since we know that Deadpool's not in the main MCU timeline, or isn't yet in the main MCU timeline. And that's all going to have to be explained, and maybe in the introduction or the official announcement for this movie that we're hoping to now be getting during D23, we could be getting that exact information. Recently, over the last few days, we've heard from a number of different insiders and scoopers that we will be getting the entire cast and director for Fantastic Four. Now, the project was announced during San Diego Comic-Con, where they had it in as one of the earlier projects for Phase 6. Now, that was really all of the information we got. We didn't get a movie title, an updated logo, a new director, any actors, any of the Fantastic Four. So, the word on the street coming from those who summon information from the inside is that we will be getting this information during D23. So that includes the people who will be playing the Fantastic Four. I don't know about Doctor Doom, but that would be really cool as well. And the new director, since we know that the movie is currently without one. Hopefully that information will also be coming to us, and that is what is being said on the inside. We're also hoping to get an X-Men update. Now, during San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, Kevin Feige concluded his big Phase 4 reveal by talking about how they didn't have time to talk about the Fantastic Four and mutants. Now, the Fantastic Four was shown during Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but so were mutants, as Professor X was there. And in the MCU, we're starting to get many hints of mutants showing up. Most recently and primarily with Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, during the ending of her series, which was recently released, it was revealed that she had mutations. And we know that Namor, the Submariner, famously known in the comics as the first mutant, will be having a very important role as an Atlantean, but a hybrid Atlantean. As we've seen in the trailers, he isn't exactly like the other Atlanteans, and he is also famously known as a mutant. So we're hoping to get some information. There are recent reports that say Kevin Feige is actually planning a huge X-Men storyline for Phase 7, and that the center of the next saga will be the mutants. There are so many stories, and it is definitely a solid argument that the X-Men are one of the more popular comic book runs. There are tons of stories, tons of directions, different characters that they can introduce, definitely enough to have an entire saga. The multiverse saga, the saga that we're currently in, supposedly is ending at the end of Phase 6 with Secret Wars, so that would leave the next story. Now, a lot of people are expecting the cosmic storyline that would potentially be the Galactus Wars, the Avengers showing up, the mutants teaming up, the Fantastic Four, the Illuminati, the Midnight Suns, all the different groups that will be coming out of the Secret War storyline, needing to come together to form an ultimate group in order to fight Galactus. But I would be okay if they pushed that to like Phase 4 and we had a whole X-Men storyline for Phase 3, or I'm sorry, Saga 3, the X-Men Saga, and then the Cosmic Saga. That would be something I would love to see, but we haven't gotten any real confirmations or updates, and hopefully that's something coming to us during D23. Something else I know you are all extremely fanboying and fangirling over, and that is a solo Wanda project, a solo Scarlet Witch project, which could either take the form of a Disney Plus series, making it a Disney Plus Day announcement, or a complete film, a solo Scarlet Witch film. Now, I know Wanda died at the end of Multiverse of Madness, but let's be honest, she didn't. She's the single most powerful being in the MCU at the moment, and potentially will be throughout the history and the oncoming stories happening in the MCU. She might be a very important clinical player during Secret Wars. However, I just don't believe she's dead because a mountain fell on her. So I would very much expect to see at some point a solo Wanda project. I don't know if necessarily they're ready to announce, aha, she's not dead, without giving any real context or building for the story. But you know, she's a huge character. There are already rumors that she signed extensions with Marvel, although they haven't been confirmed. So maybe these are some of the things they can confirm for us, giving us not a release date, but a logo for the Scarlet Witch project, which is something, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, that Disney is doing heavily right now, announcing projects and not giving us release dates. One project that should 100% be announced for Disney Plus Day is Werewolf by Night. This was a Halloween special that has been reportedly going to be released this year for Halloween for several months. Now, we haven't gotten any actual hard evidence of this. I'm hoping that it's the case because, one, I love Halloween, two, I love Werewolf by Night, and I think that it would just be a fabulous extension of the Moon Knight storyline and the possible Midnight Suns continuation, monster hunters in the MCU and the street level that we could be getting. And now with Daredevil and the Punisher making their way over to the MCU eventually, there's just so many reasons to be excited for these street level monster hunters, and I want that to happen. So I hope we get that announcement, maybe even a full-on teaser trailer during D23 or Disney Plus Day, probably Disney Plus Day for that one. But talking about projects that are getting announcements and aren't necessarily getting release dates, Nova. This is one Kevin Feige's been teasing for many years, since before the Infinity Saga came to an end. He's been talking about how he wanted to get Nova involved, but there wasn't room with the busy schedule, and now we know Nova's on the horizon. But for an official announcement, a logo, something that doesn't have a release date attached to it, or maybe even giving us a release date for this during the Phase 6 timeline that still has plenty of available spots, I think it would do us all good justice in order to see an announcement for that to get us certainly excited. Also with that, Armor Wars. Now this has been announced and was announced long time ago, but we need an update. Like, what's going on with Armor Wars? Is this still happening? Are we just ignoring the fact that it was going to exist and isn't anymore? Does it go in Phase 6? Is it happening in a different saga altogether? We need an update on this, guys. We're wondering. We want to know what's going on with the hierarchy of Stark technology. Who are the hands that it's falling into, and what are they trying to do so terribly with it? I hope we get an update on that as well. And finally, World War Hulk. Now we know She-Hulk is out. We've seen the first episode. Hulk is very involved, and he's very much Professor Hulk still. World War Hulk is kind of the 100% opposite of Professor Hulk. Zero control, a monster run by passion and rage, with some of the most powerful and strongest storylines for the Hulk ever to happen, We've been talking about this project for a long time. We've heard rumors and inside scoops about how this is going to be a huge Avengers team-up project prior to the release of the Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars. Now, we've kind of heard conflicting rumors that this was going to be a 4-part Disney Plus series, hour-long episodes with tons of cameos, or this is going to be one epic movie, a huge cinematic event. Either way, I'm super excited for it, and I do hope that we get some type of announcement. And since She-Hulk is now actively happening and we are getting some updates with the Hulk, hopefully something that happens from now until D23 we'll be able to get an update of what's going on with the Hulk, or does something tragic happen during She-Hulk that will lead us to believe potentially we could be headed towards the World War Hulk storyline. Now, if it is happening, it will probably happen in Phase 6, so that would be a distant way away. However, I know we would all just be absolutely stoked to get a update for this coming from Marvel directly. So hopefully that is also in the cards for us during D23 and Disney Plus Day. Now, there's a lot of other things they could talk about, announce individuals, actors, characters that they're bringing to the MCU, but this is definitely on the top of my menu, the things that I would be the most satisfied to hear. Let me know what you guys would like to hear. What projects that have been rumored or that have been announced or talked about would you like to have come up during D23 or Disney Plus Day? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Great video. If you made it to the end, let me know, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. And I'll catch you guys all in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.